Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Yeah, I was actually holding off with making a video because I thought maybe something exciting is going to happen. Well, guess what? Nothing happened, and it was the promised boring weekend. But we'll see how the next few days are going. I expect volatility next week, strong volatility, irrational movements. So whatever you're doing, give your trades some space. Make sure you're happy with the position you have. But also maybe don't consider not to engage in too much leveraged positions. So yeah, because we could get some crazy volatility next week due to the ETF news. I think it's Wednesday or Thursday. We should hear something. But overall scenario hasn't changed. So let's talk about it. Also, let's talk about an alternative that could occur here. But overall, the 34K level is the main support. As you know, as long as that level is holding, and we have to give that current wave for that space, but as long as that level is holding, a fifth wave to the upside can be expected. Fifth wave in a larger third wave or an A wave. We talked about that earlier today. I'm not going to repeat that because we don't need to do that multiple times in a day. Really just a quick update because not so much happened. So the overall idea is still that this is an A wave, this is a high B wave, and we're moving down in a C wave. There are a few other options though, okay? There are a few other options. So obviously we talked about the scenario in which this is a wave W, this is an X wave, and then the Y wave finished here, and the low is already in. That's one way of looking at it, but then obviously it needs to follow that wide pathway to the upside that we're going to take a look at in a minute. Or obviously if this is a WXY, then the last move is an ABC. Well, nothing stopping the price nothing stopping that ABC structure, I should rather say, to turn into a larger ABC. So it's still a WXY, but instead of finishing here, it finishes down here. It's really just an academic question. How do I label it, right? I just bring it up because the yellow count that I have now in an ABC with that massive B wave in wave 3, it's getting a little bit massive. So I might change it at some point and we'll label it W, X, and then this is a Y wave. And in the Y wave, we have an A wave, possibly a B wave triangle, and then a C wave down. It could also be that the Y wave is another W, X, Y. But that doesn't matter. A triangle can be an X wave, a triangle can be a B wave, valid. So just want to point out, I might make a change to the microstructure, but to be honest, it wouldn't make a great difference anyway. Probably, we won't even notice it. It's just an academic question. And we shouldn't really spend so much time thinking about this stuff because it's not, I always emphasize the pragmatic approach. Let's just label it, obviously, not breaking any rules. And find the most probable outcome, yeah. But, honestly, if it's a WXY or ABC, it doesn't really matter. So be pragmatic. Don't waste your time thinking about questions that do not affect your trading. You shouldn't really have time for that. Again, we're not here to earn a prize in Elliott Wave labeling, okay? We are here essentially to understand where the risk is and to protect our capital and also to make money. So now let's zoom into the 1 hour chart. Here you see the 2 wave counts. As I suggested, this B wave here, that we talked about in previous videos, it can turn into a very, very complex mess. And exactly that is happening. It was a boring weekend because the market is literally in a holding phase. You see the 2 wave counts are basically mirrored. One allows for a move to the upside, one allows for a move to the downside. And we're just waiting for the market to clarify its intentions. And it might very well be that we won't really have an outcome until we get those, get this ETF news, depending on what it is. And maybe only then the market will act. I mean, there might be a little bit of volatility, yes, but we'll see. We've got 2 pathways, one to the upside here highlighted in white. It gives us also very clear parameters because if the bullish count works out, that means the wave 4 has already bottomed. Well, then there are very clear parameters that a third wave, for example, should fulfill. So the third wave should minimally reach 45,386, possibly 46,466. Then we should get a wave 4 and a wave 5. The other way around, and that's still the pathway I prefer, in either this ending diagonal in yellow, but then again this B wave is massive, and I'm not labeling the entire triangle because it is going to morph most likely. Otherwise I'm just changing microstructures and it doesn't make a difference. So the B wave might have topped, the C wave might already starting to unfold, and also here it's the same way, just the other way around, in which the C wave down should, but again it depends on where I put that B wave, but well, could reach, for example, 40,280 next. Now this C wave down, that would complete wave 3, then 4, then 5. I personally will use further dips for buying, and I don't necessarily expect that we go very much into the yellow support area. I mean, anything is possible, especially next week, but the market isn't even coming close to our micro support area. At the same time, the movement in this price channel is very, very choppy and just looks very corrective. And that just emphasizes that it would be likely to see one more low. That's my preference. And it would be ideal if the market would pull back a little lower, just because such a wave 4 would typically at least reach the 23.6 retracement. That's my preference, and that is also what would look best. Again, I mentioned it as well in the previous video, or yesterday it was. If I say something like that, that's not that I'm predicting that it will happen. The low could very much be in. So there are two likely scenarios, both bullish, as long as we're holding 34,060. Think about what that means for your portfolio. Think about that, because it really depends on, okay, if you have a position or not. There's so many factors that are unique to you, but they are both bullish. And again, for me, it means any further dips I will use as an opportunity. Obviously, ETF comes out, so well, who knows what's going to happen, but I expect it to be approved, but it could be the other way. So either way, if it's positive news, then we might still see a small dip. Who knows? It could be a rapid dip, maybe into the yellow area, and then a subsequent rally. We'll see how that all turns out. It's not possible to predict what the market is going to do based on news. We leave that to crypto Twitter. What we can do is highlight the relevant support levels. Someone commented in the previous video, the analysis is irrelevant because of ETF news next week. Well, it's not irrelevant because the relevant parameters on the chart, they don't change at all, okay? The parameters are what really matters, not the count. So the Fibonacci levels, the pivot points, the inflection points, they do matter. And they won't change, regardless of what the news, what the effect of the news is going to be. So that's my update about Bitcoin. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.